Hello, LinkedIn. My name is Morgan Murray. I'm the founder of Clean Circle. Today, we have one of our recovery coaches, Kevin Flynn, on the line for the podcast. So, Kevin, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. So, good morning to you too, Morgan, and good morning, LinkedIn family. My name is Kevin Flynn. I am a recovery coach professional, RCP, operating in a little town called Leominster, Massachusetts. You'll probably have to look it up to spell it. And I do executive recovery coaching, which I'm sure we'll get into as we go through this interview. I'm also a person in long-term recovery. I've been, clean for over 2 decades. So I have a little bit of experience in this, and yeah, I'm really happy to be here. Thank you for the opportunity, Morgan.
Yeah, absolutely. We're honored you're on this platform. I went ahead and prepared 6 questions for you, and I'll kind of curate them a little bit differently since you are an executive coach as well. So for the first question, the question is, what inspired you to become an executive coach and or therapist?
Sure.
Mhm.
So I worked as a recovery coach and a recovery coach supervisor at a peer recovery center here in my hometown. Did that for a couple of years and went through Recovery Coach Academy and the various classes to get certified as an RCP. But I saw a real need, particularly in the financial industry. So I worked in financial services and fintech for a number of years, an opportunity that I got because I was clean. Somebody, took a shot on me and
Oh, that's
actually paid for, some additional education. And I see a lot of professionals struggle with admitting that they have a problem and even knowing that they have a problem, being able to reach out because they're so concerned about their professional reputation and what will people think of them. And I wanted to develop a service that was more geared towards them so they could feel safe and comfortable discussing their problems with me. And that's what we've done.
that's amazing. Yeah, I've been in that situation before, and I didn't know people like you existed. So obviously, I didn't want anybody knowing. And at the time, I did work in finance, so that's ironic. Wish I had found you. Make my life
Sure.
a lot
It's
easier.
hard when you represent clients and, oh, what are my clients going to think? And I think I shared with you yesterday when we spoke that the whole idea came from a pharmacist
Mhm.
who works in my local town at a CVS. And he came to me and he said, I can't walk into a meeting and put my hand up and proclaim myself as an addict and then go into work the next day and see half the people in the meeting in my line at the pharmacy counter.
Yeah,
So
no,
you
that's
needed something,
solid point. That
absolutely.
that's just the reality, Sometimes people do have to do it privately, so
Yes.
it's
Yep.
really amazing that you offer that service. The next question I had, so how do you manage to take care of your own mental health or recovery while you help others as well?
That's a great question. I So when I had a couple of years clean, I worked at a TSS, a transitional center, and really got lost in the work. I was, doing overnights, double shifts, and I stopped going to meetings and I stopped paying attention to my personal recovery, and I almost relapsed over that.
Oh wow.
So I learned a valuable lesson at that point that my recovery and working in treatment are two entirely different things. Today, I'm blessed to be married to a woman who is in recovery. She's been clean for 18 years, so she's obviously part of my support system.
Mhm.
Um, I belong to a church. I'm a Christian, and I'm very involved with my church. And I go to church on Sundays, and I also my wife and I do a life recovery meeting here at our home, which is a
Oh, cool.
Christian program.
Yeah.
Plus, I go to meetings. I've never stopped. I've had the same home group for 15 years, and I have a team of Kevin D. Flynn RCP is not just Kevin D. Flynn. I have a team of professionals, including a mental health counselor, a
Perfect.
social worker, an MBA to help with business structure. And these people are also part of my support network, and we're all in recovery, so we share openly with one another. And I try to do something every single day to maintain my recovery, and I always put my recovery first before everything else.
Sure. And that sounds like a well-oiled a business, I should say. And also congratulations to you and your wife on your sobriety. That's a very long time.
Thank you. I appreciate it. We all do it just one day at a time, brother.
Yeah. I get that. Third question. So why did you join Clean Circle? Just because there's so many apps, so many different platforms. And with that said, what type of impact would you like to have here?
Sure. Well, it's interesting because the timing was amazing. I was looking for an app that I could get involved in, that I would be able to list my services, but also participate in a recovery community. And to be honest with you, there are a number of apps out there, but there's very few that do both. So
Yeah.
I could join, say, in the rooms, and I could go to meetings, and I could read literature and all that. But there's nothing for coaches or counselors or anything like that. And then there's the opposite end where there's, coaching and counseling apps that they're not really part of a recovery community. So when I saw this, I was really excited about it. It just happened to pop up on my page, and I noticed that you had actually been following me since May. And I said, wow, I really need to talk to these folks and see what's going on. And having worked in fintech, I know this is a really sound idea. Having spoken to you, I know you have a solid business plan, and I'm really excited to get involved. I can promote it to my own recovery community. I have a pretty large following on social media, and I think it's really it's a gap that needs to be filled.
Yep.
Particularly with this, and I get into like the economic difficulties of running a coaching
Yep.
service, if you're relying on public funding or even insurance. And, like there needs to be a way to connect people to the help they need without having them have to walk into an overcrowded treatment center, wait in line, and then do a, semi-public meeting with a recovery coach. Because I see folks meeting at a table in the middle of a crowded room. You can't do that. This provides opportunities to do one-on-one communication, group communication, attend meetings, ask for help. I just think it's a great idea, and I'm really excited about being a part of it. And I'm happy to promote it for you and bring more folks on board.
Well, thank you for that. That was very nice, and I obviously agree with you 100% on that. I even think that because typically rehabs, well, some of them will make sure you have doctor's appointments and follow-ups and things like that. But I mean, if they left there with Clean Circle on their phone already, then they're either gonna connect with peers or a coach. Because they don't have to go to those doctor's appointments. They don't have to do anything. They just need them, right, to be able to leave. So
Well,
I think you're right on that.
and the difference too is a coach is someone with lived experience.
Yep.
A doctor or a counselor may not have that. They have the education, but they've never used, they've never lived that life where we hit those rock bottoms. Like I've done that. I smoked crack.
Yeah.
And I say that to people, after 23 years, people look at me and they think I'm joking, but yet I was caught up in that lifestyle.
Yeah.
And someone, I know I always had a difficult time talking to somebody. If they didn't have the same experience I did, then I figured they didn't know what they were talking about. So that's why I think this coaching niche is so important, because we offer lived experience. And that doesn't mean we can't refer them to doctors and therapists, because there are times when people need additional help, professional help. And coaches need to know, okay, that's not in my purview. Let me refer you to somebody. And that's why we put this group of people together to be able to service those folks.
Yeah, that's a perfect answer there. The next question I have, so what would you say to someone who is either timid or maybe they're scared, they don't want to reach out. You kind of touched base a little bit, but what advice would you give them?
Sure. So for just general people in general,
Yeah.
I would say, you know, think about that fear and think about all the things we did to maintain our addiction. We handed money to perfect strangers.
Yep.
We accepted what they gave to us, on the faith that it was going to be real and it was going to get us high. Like that's not, asking for help from a coach or a counselor or somebody in this field, or even going to a meeting and sticking up your hand and saying, I'm an addict. I don't know what to do next. Something simple like that. And if you're a professional, because I've had, many professionals talk to me about the fears of actually asking for help and, because of their reputation, because of, what their clients will think. Will they lose clients? Will they lose their job? So we've set ourselves up as a business consultant, and to those folks who are watching this on LinkedIn, I encourage you, reach out to me as a consultant for your business, because if you're using, your business is being affected. If you're drinking, you're not at 100%. Let
Sure.
me help you with that. We'll treat it as a business project, because that's exactly what it is.
No, that makes a lot of sense, and you definitely have a unique integration with your business. I love that. And so the next two questions I do have um, are directly pretty much related to that. So the fifth question here, it's what makes your approach or coaching or therapy style unique?
Sure. And I think the main thing that makes us unique is our model is designed for executives, professionals, and business owners. Now, don't get me wrong, we'll help absolutely anybody. So if you're watching this and you think, oh, I don't qualify, listen, call me anyways, because we also partner with a number of recovery centers where we can refer you to folks. Like, for instance, if you need services covered by insurance. Now, our professional services, like our licensed mental health counselor and our family counselor, social work, many of those are covered by insurance. Our coaching services are not, because we do executive coaching, and
Sure.
many of the things that we offer don't fall under the purview of insurance companies, like business coaching and, um, we do everything from, we even get into, with some clients, we get into digital marketing and, executive coaching for their management structure. We do all that stuff. That is very different from what most recovery coaching services do.
Sure.
And we felt it was essential because of the audience that we're servicing. Um, the other piece that makes us unique, I think, is that we've combined coaching and counseling.
Yep.
I hear far too much about, oh, the differences between coaching and counseling, and almost where we're pitted ourselves against the establishment. So, oh, I'm a coach and I have lived experience, and you're a counselor, and what do you know? Like, we understand here that all those services are important.
Yep.
So, we start with the coaching, but when professional help is necessary, we have the people on hand to be able to offer that. It's all fully confidential. We use HIPAA compliant tools, video conferencing. That's another thing. We do primarily online coaching, which many professionals find to be really convenient. You don't have to go and sit in an office where everybody can see you in the waiting room. We do our coaching very much like you and I are doing this right now, except we use different tools. We don't use
Sure.
Zoom. Um, so yeah, that's again what sets us apart is the way that we're structured. We're structured for a professional community, many of whom desperately need help and are unable to find the type of service that can provide that help for them in the way that they need it.
Yeah, thank you for explaining that. And for those of you that are watching, so you actually answered the sixth question as well. But basically, let's say you related a lot with Kevin, whether it was the executive coaching or you just want to, join and use him as a recovery coach. The application will be live over the weekend. But I suggest you don't wait. If you're one of those professionals and you're kind of in that boat and there's really no shame to it, and we understand that you want to keep it private, how would those people get in contact with you? What would be the easiest way?
Sure. So the easiest way is to go to my website, which is kevindflynn.com. You can review the different services that we offer. You can book a meeting with me there, or you can simply call me. My number is 978-882-8799. It's a phone that I always answer, so you're not going to get a voicemail unless, of course, I'm in a meeting like this.
Sure.
But for the most part, you're going to get a live human being. You're not going to get a service or an AI chat or anything like that. Um, and um, and listen, let's just have a conversation. There's no commitment to making a phone call or visiting a website. Take a look, and if something resonates with you, let's talk further. And we'll find a way to help you.
Well, thank you, Kevin, for jumping on the podcast. I know you're brand new to Clean Circle and you're already doing an interview, so I really appreciate that and I appreciate the work you're doing. So,
Awesome.
anybody watching this, you can find Kevin at the details you just said, or if you want to find him on Clean Circle, over the weekend you can download the application and you'll just search either Kevin or you could even search for executive coach or something like that. So. With that being said, I just want to thank you again, Kevin, and I hope everybody here has a wonderful. Today's Wednesday. I had to check. It's been a long week. A wonderful Wednesday.
So, and a safe and happy holiday weekend.
There you go.
Oh, thank you, Morgan, for doing this. This is huge for the recovery community. I appreciate it, and I'm sure many others do too.
Absolutely.
So thank you. I'm sure we'll talk again soon.
Oh, we will. Our Slack channel's always going. So
Absolutely.
take care.
All right. Thank you.
Bye.